A pleasant good morning to you, one and all. Very good morning to you. Welcome to today's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption Incompetence. Today is Monday, the 26th day of August 2024. Welcome, one and all. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and hope you're looking forward to a productive week. You know, Mondays are not the best days for many people, but for those of us who want to get going, want to make sure that you earn, want to make sure that you progress, every day is a good day. You had your weekend, you relax, you recuperate, and you are ready to go. So welcome one and all to this Monday's edition. Again, I say so many people in the schoolyard. Once the program was scheduled just after 7 this morning. And you would note the pattern. We schedule the program just around 7 now in the mornings. And immediately the students are in the schoolyard. So we open the gate. They are in the schoolyard and they're waiting for when the door is open to come in and to be able to share and to get credible, valuable information. So here we are today, Monday, the 26th day of August 2024. And we are ready to share the information with you. So much has happened since we last met, since we last had classes on Wednesday. So many things have happened that we need to bring them to your attention. And not only tell you of the things that have happened, but to analyze. You know, we do statement analysis. So we analyze what is going on so you can be better informed. You can read between the lines and see what is going on. My colleague, Mr. Conway, CC is already in the studio. He's ready and he's raring to go to impart those gems that he usually he brings us every day that we have the program. Today, as I've said, is another good day. It's a day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. It is indeed a privilege to be able to wake and see the new dawn and to be on this program. And we shouldn't take these things for granted. Many people would not have been this fortunate either because they are called home or because of whatever problem they are unable to get this information. Some people can't get the live. They go on YouTube and Facebook. And that is why, again, we encourage you to subscribe to the channel on YouTube and to follow the page on Facebook. It's by the same name, Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Once you do that, you can't miss anything. So even if you can't get the live, even if you're in an office or you're someplace where people say you should not look at Sloan Conway and you should not look at these programs, when you got your own time, you can look and be educated and be informed as to what is going on. And that is what we're going to do. We're going to, as I've said to you, we are committed to ensuring that credible, valuable information is brought to your attention. We're going to go through those statements, those news articles, and we're going to analyze and bring you. We're going to dissect it and we're going to bring it to you. And that we're going to do again this morning. Those of you who subscribe would have seen the notification for today's program. And we said we're going to deal with this recent drive-by shooting and other issues. And we're going to address those issues. We're going to dissect and we're going to bring the real thing so you can see what is really, really going on in what we call this dear land of ours, dear land of Ghana, which is so poorly managed. And this is not politics. This is making sure that you know what's going on. Every day you get some incident, crime, traffic lawlessness, corruption. And this is not Sloan Conway saying that. This is not Sloan Conway saying that. It is there for all to see, despite all the, as we call it, the salawala and the propaganda. It is there for all to see, right? And all we do is to highlight what is there and to analyze it so that you get a deeper understanding of what really is taking place. So yes, we are going to do that. And as the usual format, we're going to do the roll call. After the roll call, we're going to make the announcements. And then we're going to go into the meat of the program. The roll call, again, I tried to fly through it this morning because we have so many students, or we had so many students in the schoolyard waiting for the school, for the door to open. And once the door was open, they are in the classroom, taking all those advantageous seats and positions to make sure that they can hear what is going on. So here we are, another good day. As I said, It's always a privilege to be in the land of the living that we are at the moment. So let me run through the roll call. As I said, note the pattern. We try to schedule the program just around 7 o'clock every day now. We're trying to be consistent with that. So those of you who want to come into the schoolyard, you can come in around that time. If you come 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, you're going to find that the gate is locked. Around 7, yeah, you're going to be there, and you're going to come in, play your games, interact with your fellow students, and so on. So the first person in when the program was scheduled just after 7 this morning, we had John coming in for us. Then he was followed by the man from the UK, all the way from the UK, Wayne, Peter, Anthony, and Wayne, and they came in together. Wayne, Peter, Anthony from Peters Hall, they came in together. Wayne is from the UK. And then we had Carlton from Brooklyn, my squad mate. Then it was Anka, Tessa, Denise, Trotty, Carl, Como, 8218 from New Jersey, Sean from Schenectady, Leon from Brooklyn. Then we had Kenneth. Kenneth is from Maryland. Morton, Mary from Brooklyn, Sydney, original black man. Then we had, I can't recall seeing this person before. I said Doki or Doki, whatever the pronunciation is. Welcome. Then we have Joseph, Evelyn, Earl. After all, it was Floyd, Walterine. Then it was BX, my squad mate, 9407. Goodman, the good man, BX. Then we had Monica, Cecile, Magnell, Smitty, Vibort, old detective, one of the better ones, 7464, Smitty. Then we followed the next Smith, 9339. We used to call him Blues. He is here with us. Then Paul from Canada is here. Joan is here. Joan is from New Amsterdam. Francis Kidd from Melanie Damashana. Matthew, Anthony, Courtney is from New Jersey. Brian, the Sauls are here. Courtney and Brian, they came in at the same time. Brian is from Brooklyn. Tom Kiat, Winston, and Winston is from California. Gary 10096 is here with us. Dennis, old traffic man. I think he's operating out of Barbados. But Dennis, I remember you very well, traffic man with the motorcycle around town. He and the partner, I think the partner name was Ross. No, yeah. Patricia is here from New Jersey. Inferno boss, Dennis. The same Dennis came back. Marcus, Randolph, 12538, worked with me at the TSU. Gavin from Maryland. Then it was Vibert. This is Vibert John this time. Derek, Aubrey's from Canada. Princess Hall from Lamar Springs. Lucius from Maryland. Kay, Clarence, Monica, Winston from the UK. Then Patricia, Richard, Melissa, Carlisle, Barbara, Mr. G, Pamela from West Dem, Felicia, Debbie from Providence. Then it was Connolly, Patrick, this is Patrick Gittins, Marva. Danny is here, Ivan Daniels, another good detective, former detective. Heather is here. Lennox is Akko. Vibort is the next Vibort. This is Vibort Larson's CC Squaddy. His number was 9066. Wayne is here. Ross Ricardo, Pauline, Carmel, Ballard. Ballard say he's there in Georgetown. Ballard, did you acquire a visa to go to Georgetown? You're a man up in the hills. And if you're traveling from the hills to go to Georgetown, hope you get a visa. Well, the fact that you're in Georgetown means they didn't revoke your visa. Because you know there's a topical thing now, revocation of visas. Then we had Bonita, West Coast Barbies. Terrence from Canada, 9795. Patricia, Lynette from the UK. Then it was Ray Byrne, 10079, I think his number was. Then it was Rhonda. This is Rhonda Charles. Dexter, Aileen, female umpire. You're celebrating this week. Oh, big girl. You get a lot to celebrate. We're going to talk about it briefly. Dexter is here. Annette, Raul, my Redmond friend. Henrik, Marcus, Linden, Kurt, Malcolm, Orin from the UK is here. My friend Chicken. Then we have Isabella, Glenn, Kerry from Maryland. Then it was Michael, Carl, my squad mate from Arizona, 9414. Paul Emerson, Azzy, Winslow, Orin 12578 or 758. It was. Kevin is here. Oslin, Rastaman, Doreen, my another squad mate from Canada, W349 is here. Linda. Then it was BV Man, Ezekiah. There's got to be country man. Come on, BV Man too. Then it was Clay, Abera 1111, Siobhan, Jean, Jacko. Jacko is still in Corriverton. He enjoying life. Normally, he from Georgia. He enjoying the life, eating a lot of kwakwari curry and duck curry on the quarantine. Marlene, Sandra, Elben. Then it was Sharon. Sharon is from the UK. Cranston, he says his number was 515-837. Colin, Sanford 11872, old TSU man. Then it was Maureen, Bort, Rhonda from Denhamstel is here, Rhonda Lane this time. Sherwin, Lorraine, Robbie, who bought Robbie is here with us. Welcome, Robbie. Simo 0539, old cricketer. Charlene, welcome, Charlene. George, Dorette, Monica, Joseph, Dwayne, and then it was Lance, Trevor, and this is Trevor Calendar, Barbara, another Barbara Baptiste, Stephen, R. Crawford, Olive Phillips. Olive, good to see you on the live, my girl. Good to see you. Then it was Albert, Troy, Maury is here. Then Umi, Pito, 8152 from Queens. Diane, Chilo is here. Orville, Ulrich, you came in the schoolyard late this morning. Ulrich from Crane, West Coast, Demerara. Floyd, Everett, Everett is from Texas. I don't know where he's watching from now. Bray, Gordon from Canada. Then it was Michael, Jeremiah. He says his number was 10933. Then it is Ovid, whose number was 0937. Norbert, Grace, welcome. Then it was Forbes, Jacqueline, Sean, Rohan, Sandrine, Ulrich, my squad made the 5s, 9555. And Queenie, Rajendra is here. Desiree, Brennan, and after Brennan it was Monica, Sharon, and then Dylan, John is here as well. And then after that, the last person on the YouTube was Vernon. And then the man who's always first on Facebook, or most times, 99% of the time, Edward is here. He was followed by Karen. And then we have Lynette from Barbados, Elvis, Robert. Then it was Rosie Rose. And the list goes on. Abdun from Essequibo Coast is here. Elvis is here. Joyce Prince. And the classroom is packed. The schoolyard was packed. The classroom is packed. Now let me make the announcements quickly, and then we're going to delve into the program. Well, we don't have any death to announce, thankfully, but we have some birthdays. Today is the birthday of Stefan Noble. Stefan worked at Brigham. He was in charge of the bar at Brigham for a number of years when I was a commander there. He's celebrating a birth anniversary today. And then recently, we had birth anniversaries of Mortimer Mingo, former regional chairman, Region 10. He was there with the Guy Mine Constabulary. We had a very good relationship. Still have. He was there. And then we have recently woman assistant superintendent Fiona Harris. She celebrated the birthday recently. Former policeman Calvin Burnett, 90-20 Calvin Burnett, prison cricketer, TSU, working there in the armory with Goodluck and Blanham and all of those boys. Burnett had a birthday recently, 90-20 Calvin. Very, very destructive batsman. And then he bowled a little half-break thing. And he was an excellent fielder, real good all-round cricketer with a powerful throwing arm. Yeah, Calvin celebrated all the... And then we had Rickford Conway. Conway worked in Barbados when I was there, old police, old detective. He celebrated one recently. And then we also had the Leland Saul, retired lieutenant colonel from the army. I think he's on the Mayor and City Council in Georgetown. He celebrated a birthday recently as well. I want to wish all those who celebrated recently all the best. And hope you had a wonderful birthday. And hope that you live to see many, many more with prosperity, health, strength. I hope God will bless you with those things. And then advance birthday greetings to a man who's on here now, Carlton Dubisette. Carlton celebrates a birthday or a birth anniversary tomorrow. I want to wish you all the best, my brother, all the best. All those who celebrated today, who celebrated recently, and who are going to celebrate tomorrow like Carlton, all the best to you. all the best. And I want to make this announcement to remind members of Course 74, my course. Course 74, we joined in 2 batches, the 15th of February 1974 and the 4th of March 1974. We celebrated our 50th. Those persons who were in Guyana had a get-together, wonderful get-together, and reminisced and interacted with each other. For those people in North America, well, all the rest, because even those are in Guyana might want to travel. This weekend it is, the 31st of August. We are going to get together again at a place called La Mode Restaurant. It is located at 1402 Bedford Avenue in Brooklyn. We are going to get together there from 7 p.m. 7 p.m., we're going to have a wonderful time. We're going to meet, we're going to reminisce, we're going to share each other's company, we're going to share the jokes, we're going to talk about Curtis Chung, we're going to talk about Bunyan, we're going to talk about Yankee Williams and all of those instructors, Lio Gill, and all. Yeah, we're going to sit down, we're going to drink, we're going to eat, and we're going to reminisce. So don't forget, it is Saturday coming the 31st. Now we're planning for the Labor Day weekend, Saturday coming the 31st, 7 p.m., we plan to get started. We plan to gather here. And again, the place is La Mode Restaurant, situated at 1402 Bedford Avenue in Brooklyn. So that is for the announcements. And let me bring in my colleague, Mr. Conway, and then we're going to move on. CC, welcome. Hope you had a wonderful weekend and you're looking forward to a productive week.
Lovely weekend. Praise the Lord that we are all in the land of the living, prepared to do God's work. And I think we're going to get a wonderful program as usual today.
Yeah, we're going to have a wonderful program today as we usually do. And before I go into the meat of the thing too, we got cricket in the air, man. Oh, Aileen, people like Ulrich, and all of these people, man. Oh, y'all enjoying yourself. West Indies won on Friday against South Africa, commanding victory. They chased down 174 very easily. And then yesterday, they batted for us and they made 179. And at one stage, the thing looked iffy. It looked like South Africa would have been able to level the series. But then the bowlers came to the party. The Guyanese bowlers in particular. I got to big up the Guyanese bowler, Shamar Joseph. We had Sheppy and Moti. Sheppy, I think, 3 for 15. 3 for 15. And they swung the thing West Indies way. Eventually, it was a convincing victory by 30 runs. And therefore, in a 3-match series, we have an unassailable lead of 2-0. Oh, man, it's just a wonderful feeling to know that we won that series. And then, saying on the cricket, big upset in Pakistan. Pakistan, 400 and something declared. Bangladesh batted, made 500 and something. Then roll over Pakistan in the second innings and register their first ever test victory against Pakistan. Cricket is a game of glorious uncertainties. That is why we love it. It's a game of glorious uncertainties. Yeah, so it's good to see West Indies on the winning road, especially in this format. We should really continue to dominate this T20 format and try to do much better in the ODIs and in the test match. We have to do that. But it's good, any victory we get at this stage, we have got to celebrate, we have got to enjoy, because they are not that frequent. So whenever we get them, we got to celebrate. Then bring Mr. Conway, he's a cricketer like me, and I'm sure you want to say something about that too. See?
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole match, Years ago, I used to watch every ball, and I used to get a transistor radio when we didn't have television and in my pillow and all kind of thing there. But after South Africa ran away in the 6 opening overs there, I went downstairs and started to do something, and then my wife said, come upstairs, the guy is tearing skin. And I rushed upstairs there, and I was really impressed with the way they dismantled South Africa, especially in the last half, And I feel that in the T20 we get a fairly good side, And I hope that they will continue to do well. But as you said, when we get a victory, we gotta enjoy it and we gotta be proud of it.
Yeah, you're right. They have a good side. I have probably one person in the side. I can't call him name now. We can't be a friend. But even though he's my friend, he shouldn't be in the team. being objective. So let's see. Let's see. And then to remind you that CPL starts on Thursday. The Caribbean Premier League starts on Thursday. Thursday, they're starting in Antigua at the Sir Viv Richards ground there. So we're going to get 7 p.m. cricket starts on Thursday, the CPL. Now, let me move on to the substantive item. Now, the first thing that I want to tell you, I got a note. Somebody said that a certain senior government minister 2 Fridays ago, driving along Sheriff Street, ran into the back of a car that was being driven by a woman. She had children at the back of the car. They said, well, he ran into the back and the children weren't injured. Came to a stop. And then the man attempted to drive away. They said the man appeared to be as drunk as a fish. He was driving, they say, a Range Rover, fancy vehicle. I wonder which minister driving Range Rover. That is information. Run into the back of the vehicle and then attempted to go away. The people have to block the path to prevent him from going away. It doesn't appear as though it was any serious accident. It looked like what we call fender bender, right? But then the people summoned the police. Police turned up on the scene. I know what they are saying that the police did. The police just look and police tell the minister, carry on, man, carry on. So the minister drove away in that same drunken state and I went away. That is what is being reported. 2 Fridays ago, they say it happened. Sheriff Street, a minister driving a Range Rover, senior government minister driving a Range Rover, ran into the back of this car. The woman driving the car, and she had children at the back. And the report did say, the note that I got, well, no, none of the children was injured, but it's the attitude and the action of the minister. He drunk, he came out, and perhaps he observed there's no big set of damage. The man attempted to drive. If you had a black his path, call the police. When the police come, police just look and police say, all right, man, go on your way. Send the man along. You think Guyana is a real place? Guyana is not a real place. Civilized plantation. One, the minister drunk, that's what the people say. 2, there's an accident. So once there's an accident, there's a process to be gone through. It should have been brutalized. So even if the accident was a minor accident, driving under the influence of alcohol, but nothing can happen. The police just send the minister away. And that is what is being reported 2 Fridays ago. And that is not difficult to investigate and to find out who the minister was and whether the incident did take place or not. But that is what you find happening in the place. That is what you find happening. No example, no proper example, no is being set. They're above the law. They are above the law. But yo, karma is a bitch, you know. You'll catch up with all of them. Karma and Uncle Sam is going to catch up with them. Nothing in this life goes unpaid. I believe that. I am not superstitious, but I believe nothing goes unpaid. And if it's not you going to pay, your children or your grandchildren, your descendants, they are going to pay. You can't be doing the things that they are doing, lying and all of that thing on people, innocent people, and get a bit. Nah, it ain't going to happen. See, let me ask you for your comment on this report that this minister, drunk, driving to the back of the car, and then he was allowed to go away. What your views?
I heard about it, you know, but it's not only the attitude of the minister, you know, it's the attitude of the police. There it is. And normally the first thing is to do brutalize the man. Do a brutalize test on him. Although was no real damage done to the vehicle, but the man driving under the influence of drinks, as the story goes, you know, could have gone and after then and end up in a fatal accident and all kind of thing. So the attitude of the police also is very, 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 you know, deplorable. Or maybe because the minister, so he not gonna do nothing, you know.
No, but it shows the weakness in the system. When I was commander, let me tell you about the incident. When I was commander in A Division, they had a certain man who was a magistrate got involved in one of those fender benders. And when we discovered that apparently his certificate of fitness was expired. And when the thing came to me, I think Semple was my traffic chief. They were the fender bender. The 2 parties agreed to settle. But then the magistrate was saying to me that they decided to settle the matter. I said, well, you can't settle a matter relating to uncertified motor vehicle. You can't settle that with the next party. And I instructed for him to be charged, and he was charged. These things are there. I ain't bigging up myself, but I tell you, got to do the job how the job was supposed to be done. How the job was supposed to be done. Yeah, you get into an accident, and the two parties decide. They give statements that look, they don't want to any the matter to continue any further. But then the magistrate's vehicle was uncertified, and he and the other party cannot settle that. There's not an offense against the other party; it's an offense against the state. And therefore, I instructed, he was charged. I remember very well because this man, Fitzgerald, yeah, was the traffic magistrate. And he had the man, he tried to take the matter in camera. You know, in other words, in chambers, he dealt with the matter, and then the matter, well, I think he reprimanded, not even reprimand, the matter wash out then. Wash out. I did what I had to do. There was a next matter, let me tell you all. A car registered in the name of Janet Jagan, who became president. A man by the name of Earl Bousquet. Y'all remember him? He's a St. Lucian, and he came there. He was driving our car and got involved in an accident. Right? Got involved in an accident on the Mandela by the East Independence police station somewhere there. And then they tell me about the car had documents and so on. And we dealt with it, the man in which I had to be dealt with. I think I went to the DPP somewhere, somebody danced and so on. But in a division that I was in command of, we did what we had to do. We are making sport. The law is the law. And everybody is supposed to follow the law. Nobody is above the law. And that is why they didn't like me. Up to now, they don't like me because they can't bring nonsense by me. Right? So the magistrate ended up before the court. And I can't remember the outcome of the Janet Jagan car with Earl Bousquet. I can't remember what is the outcome of that matter. But we dealt with it in the manner it ought to be dealt with. And that is what I'm saying to these policemen here. Know the law, deal with it according to the law. If people above you, the DPP and them say, well, they are going to charge, that is not for you. You do what you're supposed to do. You do your job with professionalism. You do your job and left them to do whatever they want to do. The records will show that constable this or officer this did what he was required to do. That's what I'm telling you all. That is what I'm telling you all. Do the work in the manner in which it is supposed to be done. Do the job in the manner that it's supposed to be done. And then the next things I see over the weekend, Comrade Ramjatan, former he was Minister of National Security, who is now Home Affairs, on behalf of the AFC, came out and to say that he is requesting or is suggesting that the Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson Ben, you know, Sleepy Robeson Ben, who's sleeping and all that thing happening below it, that he should convene the National Security Subcommittee of Parliament. There it is. There's what Ramjatan is saying, that it should convene the National Subcommittee. Apparently there's a parliamentary subcommittee dealing with national security to investigate this allegation against what's going on in the police force with this money laundering. He said that he should call the acting commissioner, the extended squatter, before the committee. He said they should call Brutus as well before the committee and grill them. I am fully supportive of that. That's something got to be done. You can't have these allegations against senior members of the force, and then you get Soku investigating and nothing can happen. But I agree. But let me say the problem with that. The problem with that is that you have a speaker there. You have a speaker by the name of Manzoor Nadir, who is not going to entertain any such request or demand or what you say. So they ain't going no place. I don't know what the process to get this subcommittee convened, whether they got to move a motion, whether they got to, I don't know. But I'm saying at the end of the day, Manzoor Nadir going to block that from going any way further. And if it is that he can block it, the legal people, the particular man who like to advise, gonna tell them don't go. They're going to tell the squatter, I'm going to tell whoever, they should not go to this subcommittee. And I don't know what type of power the subcommittee get. If they have subpoena power, I don't know. But I think it's a very good suggestion from Mr. Ramjatan, but I don't think it's going any place. And you know, we got to make the comparison because in the US, when Congress, if something happens and the Congress summons you, you got to go. Those people who recently refused to go end up in jail. They end up in jail for contempt of Congress. And only recently we had this alleged, and I'm using the words carefully, this alleged assassination attempt on Donald Trump, right? The head of the Secret Service, who's responsible for protecting presidents and ex-presidents and all these people, she was summoned before Congress, grilled by both parties, both sides, and then eventually she had to resign. And recently I read where all the Secret Service agents who were there, or some of them who were there, were sent on administrative leave. That is how these things are supposed to work. But in Guyana, we have a situation where serious allegations are floating around that a senior officer by the name of Calvin Brutus was involved in money laundering and other financial improprieties. The commissioner, the acting commissioner, you have the record that he is complicit because he tell the people that is not true. He lie. And what? Nothing has happened. Somebody is saying no song. Somebody, Sharon is saying no song. Sharon, check your equipment because nobody else is saying that. So please check to see if you are muted. I am not. And I haven't gotten any similar response from anyone else. And they are responding in the comments to my remarks. So Sharon, please check your device and make sure that you are not muted or whatever with the song, whether you check. So somebody saying strength 5, which is the highest strength, right? All good. Yeah, so that is what that is our proper democracy works. Well, Guyana is nowhere near a proper democracy. So the suggestion or the statement by Mr. Ramjatan is a sound one, I believe, but it ain't going any place. And then, true to form, one of the propagandists came out, he attacking Kemra Ramjatan, said he should be the last to talk because then he referenced he, she, it, the thing, referenced some drug plane landed in the area in Letem, I think it was, and all they did, they removed the commander because he's suggesting then that they should have taken a more condign action against the commander. I agree, you should have taken again a more condign action, but why single out that one drug matter? One to all them enough drug that turn up. Number one, the biggest shipment passed through some wharf in Georgetown, and then they say the scanners weren't working at the time, and also I think turn up somewhere in Europe. The biggest shipment they say ever, but you ain't talking about that. You're not talking about, and there are so many other drug busts where drug emanated from Guyana, but it ain't talking about that. But it's talking about this one plane that landed, and it's true, a plane, there was a drug plane that let him, I remember the story well, and there was an investigator. He didn't tell you who's the commander, but he was investigator to find out who was the commander, and the commander was removed and all that. The commander then now in big position, that man who was there at the time, big position in the force. But that is what we have. Let me bring Mr. Conway to hear what he thinks about this suggestion that the extended squatter and Brutus and all them should be all before the parliamentary subcommittee on security. CC, what are your views, my brother?
Excellent suggestion. And you refer to what happened in the United States of America, where the head of the Secret Service had to resign, and some of the agents on administrative leave. But then, knowing the speaker, true to form, Paul, he's going to shelter under the pretext it is not a matter of urgency. It is not a matter of urgency. Full stop on this story, done.
Yes. Sorry, I wasn't on. I was speaking and I wasn't on. I was saying, I put up, somebody said that SOCU means Special Organized Cover-Up Unit. And I fully agree because all they're doing is cover up. And when they cover up, they cover down. And when they cover down, the matters are thrown out. The matters are thrown out. So yes, that is what one of these bright students said. But let me move forward. Let me move on. For weeks now, a couple of weeks now, we want to speak about a particular matter. And I'm referring here to a statement made by the second Vice President, Bara Jagdeo. Since July, it's about a month now, he made this statement, and we were trying to get it on, and every time we get in pushback, pushback, pushback. But I want to say that we aren't pushing it back any further. And I'm referring to this matter involving the case that is going on, what they refer to as the election fraud case. They call them the election fraud, where several persons, former chief election officer, deputy, and a whole set of people may go down to a charge and before the court. Right? The matter is currently engaging the attention of the magistrate court. And, it is so obnoxious for the vice president to sit at one of his Thursday's ramblings and try to berate the system and try to prejudice the outcome. Let me read what he is reported here to have said. This is News Source of January 31st, 2024. I tell you, I must make a different distinction between News Source and Newsroom. Newsroom is the propaganda arm of the PPP, of the government, and News Source is very credible, Gordon Mosley News Source. I told you all that when you hear News Source or you see Travis Chase, them people that do their research properly before they come. And News Source saying here, 3 days into the trial of 9 persons for their alleged involvement in conspiring to defraud the electorate during the 2020 election, Vice President Bara Jagdeo wants the presence of international community in the local court to observe the trial. At his press conference this afternoon, that is on the 31st of July, Mr. Jagdeo said that given the diplomatic community's high interest in the controversial 2020 elections, he believes it is only fair that they be invited to observe the trial. And then he's quoted here saying, it's quote, "It is crucial that we pursue this pathway, if for only one reason, to ensure that the people don't act or public officers do not act with impunity in the future, where they are invested with either a responsibility by law or the Constitution, and in this case, in a partial manner, discharge that responsibility and in a corrupt manner. And therefore, it is crucial that we have the international community looking at it," end of quote. And then they go on to say the article, electoral fraud trial commenced on Monday in the Georgetown Magistrate Court before Magistrate Leron Daly. 9 persons, including the call, the name, and all of those things in favor of the ruling party, With the trial just 3 days in, it appears as though the vice president is not pleased with the proceedings. Today, he expressed concern that repeated objections by the defense are being entertained by the court. Jagdeo said the objections have the potential to further delay the case. It is in a similar position as being taken by the special state prosecutor in the matter. Then the quoting again is saying, the defense lawyers for the people who have been charged have tried all sorts of delaying tactics, and they have succeeded thus far. The last attempt was dismissed by the Chief Justice, and the trial has started. And you will see a similar pattern now, and the frustration expressed by the prosecution that, on numerous occasions, uncalled for, the defense lawyers are trying again to stall the trial by making frivolous objections, and often these objections are entertained, end of quote, the vice president said. Already the vice president is predicting that the case will find its way before the Caribbean Courts of Justice, which is Guyana's final court of appeal. Magistrate Daly is presiding over the matter. In presiding over the matter, has deemed certain evidence provided by the witness to be inadmissible, an issue the prosecution continues to challenge. Weighing in on the issue, Mr. Jagdeo said the omissions will be made at the level of the magistrate court. Let me read that back. Weighing in on the issue, Mr. Jagdeo said if omissions will be made at the level of the magistrate court, it is important for the public to have a full picture of the evidence presented. Then the court in here said, it is crucial that the records be in the public domain if they are not going to be kept in the court. So that what is presented and the testimony of the witnesses will be available in the media and elsewhere. So when ultimately it gets to the CCJ, that's the full picture of the testimony discounting all of the objections and the suppression of evidence that would be available to the judges. and that there is no doubt as to what was prevented the fullness of the case and its robust case, end of quote, the Vice President said. The Vice President has urged citizens to follow the case very closely. As I've said, this is a matter before the court. The magistrate is presiding. And here it is, the Vice President can jump on, use his platform to basically criticize the magistrate, to criticize the process. What is wrong with defense lawyers making objections? It happens all the time. All over the world, that is what they do, to make objections. The magistrate will rule on the objections. If the magistrate decides that a particular piece of evidence is inadmissible, the magistrate so rule. If you want to challenge it at the next level. But I say, and you know, this what annoys me with these matters is that you get the public, what do you call them, the private sector and all them public sector institutions, the guardians of democracy, and they sit there quiet. And the Vice President is publicly commenting and berating a magistrate for doing his or her work. His or her work, the work is being done. Let me understand this thing clearly. There were delays and delays. As the process is being used, the people using the process, and if they decide to use the process to their advantage and you vex, that's up to you. And you know, you're already predicting you're going to go all the way to the CCJ. So even before the matter has ended, or even started, well, it's not started, but even progressed properly in the magistrate court, the Vice President can dip on the airwaves and make all of these statements, incendiary statements I refer to them as, against the magistrate, and people sit back quiet. People sit back quiet and allow this to happen. The same Vice President, when the judge ruled, Justice Sanil Kisoon ruled in the case, and he called him presumptuous. Oh, the judge presumptuous. You had the case with the teachers union, where the chief education officer, he there defied the order of the judge. Judge made an order, and he wrote a memo countermanding, disregarding the order of the judge. And as we have said on this program before, perhaps the people on the bench, the judges and the magistrate are to be blamed, because when they make these statements, and these statements, you should call them and deal with them for contempt. That is what should happen. They should be dealt with for contempt. You get the Bar Association, quiet. You imagine the Vice President, the man next statement here, the man said, it is crucial that we pursue this pathway. He calling for international observers to be there. But there's nothing preventing anyone, because it's not a matter that is held in camera. It's an open trial. Anyone can go and sit and observe what is going on. But he creating the impression that people are excluded. They are not. I think unless you have limited space and so on, but they would allow you to go there and sit and to observe what is going on. This is not an in-camera matter. This is a matter that is open to the public, and he making all these statements. I know, before I bring him, Mr. Conway, this is the man who calling for international observers to observe this trial, because he said the community showed an interest. The diplomatic committee showed an interest. This is the man who we had the most serious and damning allegation against any politician made. And the most serious, 2022 Sugate, where it is alleged that Vice President Bharat Jagdeo takes $500,000 from Chinese businessmen to give contract. This Vice President entertained the reporters who posed as businessmen into his living room at Pradoville 2, into his living room. His tenant, Su Zherong, he admitted Su Zherong is his tenant, had the type of privilege, had the type of access to take these people into the Vice President's living room. And then when they throw the thing at, he said, well, Su looks after that part of the business. I'm in government, I look after that. What part of the business can a Chinese businessman, Su Zherong, look after? He's not in government. He doesn't have any official position. But you said, the Vice President said, Su looks after that part of the business. And this is on record. This is on tape. So they're quick to say they're going to sue you and they're going to sue. It is on record in his own words. He never denied it. He can't deny it. And when the ladies bring the thing, I was looking at it. I'm trying to get it around, to get with technical people who try to put together the part of the tape. It's a long tape. I don't want to bore you with the entire tape. It's there on my page. But that's the part when the lady said, ask if he does take bribe. And he said no. And then she asked him, who is Sue? Who is Sue? The man said, Sue? Sue? Who is my tenant? Then they said, is this your friend? Yeah, it's a friend, a tenant. That reaction alone to that question tells me that there was a lot of guilt in there. That is my training. When you saw the response to that question, who is Sue? Who? Sue? And you see the brain thinking, the brain gone into overdrive. They say, oh, he's my tenant. He's my tenant. That is the man. You want international observers or international investigation to investigate that most damning of allegations. That most damning. I am saying, as far as I know, it is the most serious allegation of corruption made against any person in government. Any person, whether they were PNC, whether they are PPP, whether they are PPC, PNCR, whether it's coalition, there has never been, as far as I know, such a serious allegation made against any politician. And this man can sit there and talk all of this crap, and people don't challenge you on these things. They don't. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, man. Let me bring in Mr. Conway is always, let me admit it, he's always the wiser head. So when I get worked up and I start to rant and I start to rave and so on, I just bring in Mr. Conway and he brings some sanity into the thing. Let me bring in Mr. CC. CC, lend me your wise ear, man. Let me hear what's going on.
Well, I can bring sanity into the statement by the second vice president, because as I understand it, is that the elements of the charge, based on the statements of the two witnesses who have already testified, and they brought in a king's counsel. I had to pay over more than $500,000. I don't have the correct figure. Bring him a king's counsel to prosecute the case. I don't know what made the lawyers in the DPP chambers or the lawyers in the Attorney General's office. But here's the king's counsel there. And they wanted the magistrate to admit inadmissible evidence, particularly hearsay evidence. I was there on two occasions, and it's what we call free public interest, that anybody could go in there and listen, providing that there is space. I went there, I listened, and I agree with the magistrate when she didn't allow inadmissible evidence, particularly hearsay evidence, to be tendered. But there's it. The second vice president is asking for international observers. Bring them if you wanna. But the thing is free public interest. Anybody could go there. The media has been covering it. And when he should bring in international observer or international investigators, he ain't doing that. You mentioned the suitcase, you know. So I'm not surprised with the outburst of the second vice president. But the thing is free public interest. Anybody could go there and listen to the case. I went there and I listened. And the magistrate is correct for my little understanding of law and evidence and so, that she must not administer or allow inadmissible evidence, more so hearsay evidence, to go into our court. And she's correct. But then she has gone in the wicket. I hope when she comes out from the wicket that she come back fresh and be able to go along the same mode where she will not allow inadmissible evidence into our court.
And I hope she will not be bullied by Jagdio or anyone else. She has a court to preside. You have the Evidence Act 503, and it sets out their rules of evidence. There are rules of what is acceptable, what is unacceptable. And if the magistrate rules that something is unacceptable, there's a process to deal with it. And then the magistrate are writing everything, but they make it clear. Imagine in this modern age, they still expect that a magistrate will sit there and write down langan or shatan, what you call it, every single word that is uttered in the court. But they said that the thing is being recorded. The thing is being recorded, so they're making an issue out of nothing. As I know it, the magistrates will make records of certain important things, but everything is recorded. The transcript will be there for everyone to see. The transcript is there, but they're attacking the magistrate with, I believe, with the expectation that the magistrate is going to bow under the pressure and rule in their favor, how they want the magistrate to rule. But I would say you have rules of evidence, what is admissible, what is inadmissible. You have rules of evidence relating to all of that. You have the Rules of Evidence 503. You have the Summary Jurisdiction Procedure Act 1002. And I'm sure the magistrate is seasoned enough to be able to follow all of those things. But I'm saying again that it is grossly inappropriate for Jagdio or anyone else to comment on this matter that is engaging the attention of the court. Anyone else. And let me tell you, I like to relate my own personal experience, just to show this animal farm that we're in. In 2010, when I retired from the force, there was a big farewell parade for me. Big, massive parade there. And during the course of my presentation, I made remarks. I said there was a particular police officer who had been dismissed from the force because he was granted a scholarship and he pursued his studies in the UK. And for that, even though he had all the leave and all them everything to cover himself, they dismissed him. They didn't want him around. And I said during my farewell speech that I was disappointed that the force or the administration or the police service commission had taken such a step. At that time, the officer concerned had challenged the matter before the court. He had challenged his dismissal. You know what happened? Charles Ramsey Sr., who was the Attorney General, I'm calling the name because I get the record. Charles Ramsey Sr., who was the Attorney General at the time, sued me. The man sued me. He said the matter was sub judice and I should not have made the comment that I was disappointed that the man got dismissed. And even though all the legal people, because Rex McKay dealt with the matter for me, said that there was nothing wrong in what I said. I did not comment on the merit of the case. All I said, I was disappointed that this man who had pursued studies in the interest of the force and the country was dismissed. Charles Ramsey sued me. The Attorney General, Charles Ramsey Jr., who is now Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, Daddy, sued me in 2010 for making such a statement because the matter is sub judice. And here you have a matter going on before the magistrate, and Jack Dio can sit there on Thursday and make all of these what you call incendiary comments designed, in my view, to intimidate the magistrate and everybody, the Bar Association, or as some people say, the Barbecue Association, and all of these civil society organizations. Not a single one of them can come out and say Jack Dio is wrong. They should not do that. Not a single one. Even the very diplomatic community that he calling on. Of course, the diplomats are diplomats. They're not going to say anything openly and so on. But I'm sure they must be upset when they look to see this vice president sit down there and calling out the magistrate, how she ain't taking evidence and she's selective in the evidence that she's taking and all sort of crap. This man talking there. And people allows him to get away. I'm not going to allow. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk because I have no fear of speaking the truth. And what I'm saying is the truth. What I'm saying is the truth. Jagdio and anyone else should not be commenting on a matter in the manner they're doing in the matter before the court, which, as again I say, which comments are designed to intimidate the magistrate. Nothing else. When you say you're going to bring foreign observers and all them, it's intimidation. It is intimidation. It is nothing more than intimidation. Let me get CC for a final say in this matter, then we're going to move on. CC, anything more you want to say on this?
Yeah, and I think the second vice president smelled a rat, that the two witnesses, the star witnesses, testify nothing nearly there to implicate anybody. So he smelled a rat and you're talking about running to the CCJ. I think there's a way they can go straight to the CCJ. Well, they can't win out on that. From what I heard in court, the magistrate was correct not to admit inadmissible evidence.
But you know, you say he smell the rat. So bar rat smell the rat. That is what you're saying. That bar rat smell the rat, right? And they're gonna jump. But the whole thing is that I mean it's ridiculous. And that's why we gotta continue. I say we guys gotta continue to be a laughing stock in the international community. Because I have friends in law enforcement all over the Caribbean and farther afield. And many times they reach out to me, they want to go, what really, how can these things be allowed? Because they know, people know these things. And when they see these statements being made by these people, how is it that these things are allowed? What is really is going on in Guyana? People ask me, and I say, look, me and Alia know. Me and Alia know what really going on in Guyana. For example, when they asked me, when I, in New York some time ago, told them about my encounter with the police on the 15th of October, 2021. They couldn't believe. I had to tell them, look, go on YouTube and find the tape. I am charged with conspiracy to commit fraud along with others. I am summoned to go to court on the 15th of October. And when I turn up on court to answer to the summons, the same police who applied for the summons and the same unit that investigated this matter, or they claim they investigated the matter, are there to arrest me in respect to this same charge. They said, no, get out of here. We can't believe that. Said, look, the evidence is there. The evidence is clear for everyone to see. You show them the evidence to convince them. God, they can't believe. They can't believe that that is real. But it is very real. It is very, very real. There's a level of unprofessionalism that you have in the place. Now, let me move on. When I put out the notice yesterday, I told you all that we're going to deal with this drive-by shooting that occurred Saturday morning, where 2 persons have so far died. According to the report, there was an all-black party in Durban Street, and police stopped the party at 5 o'clock Sunday morning. Listen to it carefully. All-black party, at 5 o'clock Sunday morning, the police stopped the party. And it would appear that people were still out there mingling. Daytime, they're clean. When around 5:45, it is said, a vehicle drove by and opened fire on people who were standing there. 1 man died Saturday, and then I think 1 man died yesterday. And let me tell you this thing is, this police force that we have, the Corporate Communication Unit of the Ghana Police Force, is so unprofessional. I don't know when they're going to remove those people, because they're going to end up causing people losing their lives because of irresponsible reporting from this Corporate Communication Unit. So let me read what was said yesterday. I'm going to read what was said yesterday, and then we're going to analyze it. Yeah, it's Saturday morning. Yeah, Saturday morning, Marvel, the shooting took place. I said Saturday morning, but then yesterday morning, Saturday morning, sorry. I think I might have said Sunday, Saturday morning. Correction. Thanks, student. So, yeah, hear what it says here. And this is the Marara Waves. They said the car used in the deadly drive-by shooting tracked down. And this was updated yesterday, Saturday evening. The motor car, which was allegedly used in the early Saturday morning drive-by shooting that left 1 person dead and 6 others injured, well, the next person has died so far, was found later in the day in South Rhineville. That is what the police said. At about 9:30 a.m. Saturday morning, detectives said they went to Manatee Place, South Rhineville, Georgetown, where they observed a black Toyota Primo car without number plates parked on the eastern carriageway facing south. Police said the vehicle was examined and the registration number so was seen engraved on the windscreen. The vehicle was processed and photographed by the Criminal Investigation Department team, and 11 9mm spent shells along with 1.223 spent shell were found in the front and back seats of the car. Police also said that 2 suspected bullet holes were seen in the lower right of the rear passenger door, and what appears to be a graze from a bullet to the left side of the rear door just above the petrol tank. The area was canvassed for CCTV cameras, and these were seen and will be viewed. The vehicle was escorted to the police station where it is lodged pending investigation. The spent shells found at the scenes and in the motor car were placed in separate evidence bags and taken to the ballistics section to be examined. Police said the owner of the car, and they put your name, they put your age, and they said was contacted and interviewed. I'm going to talk about that a little later. The owner reportedly told the police that that on August 24, about 4 a.m., she was driving her black Toyota Primo car east along Durban Street, Georgetown, in company of a friend and 2 cousins. According to the owner, they get your name again in the place, whilst at Durban and Victor Street, she felt an urge to urinate. As such, she stopped the car at Durban and Victor Street, during which she was approached by 2 men on a white motorcycle, registration number unknown. She told the police that the pillion rider dismounted the motorcycle, pointed a firearm at her, and demanded that she hand over the motor car. Being fearful for her life, she, along with the other occupants, exited the car, and the armed suspect entered the car and drove north along Victor Street, out of the victim's eyesight, and made good his escape while the motorcycle followed. She said she immediately went to East Independence Police Station where a report was made. She said the area was canvassed for CCTV cameras and investigation continued. The drive-by shooting, which occurred about 5:30 Saturday morning at Durban Street Lodge by four suspects, all armed with handguns, in a black Toyota Primo, resulting in the killing of one man called Pandit and a businessman of South Rwanda. Now let me go into this thing here. This is the release what I give. Counting them, this lady driving her car. She was there with others in the car. She had an urge to wee. She had an urge to urinate. We said the country she want wee. If I hear what is that she want to pee or she want to piss, so she pull over. There's an urgent call. She pull over. Men rode up, take away the car from she at gunpoint. They took away the car from her at gunpoint. They claimed that this car now went, and this car was used in this murder, drive-by shooting, 2 persons dead so far. Others are injured. And the police corporate communication unit did not see that this woman now is a main material witness in this murder. Because they stick she up, they take with the car, maybe she's in a position to identify these people. They put your name in the release. They put our name, so they have put her in mortal danger. They put our name in the release to say she owned this car. My God, where have we gone? Where is the Ghana Police Force, the corporate communication unit, this unprofessional unit? Did they not see that in a case like this, you can't release the owner names, the name of the owner, based on the circumstances? Where did someone say these people hijacked? Because she didn't say they had mass or anything like that. So she might very be in a position to pick out who the perpetrator or perpetrators are. And they put this woman's name in the release. They put this woman's name in the release. And they're going to continue to work. This is so unprofessional. This is exposing this woman to danger because she is the person who might be able to identify at least the 2 of them that roll up on the motorcycle and took away the car. But they did not see that. This Mark Ramatar, who is in charge of the police corporate communication unit, did not see that. So he showed the lady name out there. And I said again, I don't necessarily always blame Mark Ramatar. I blame the people like the extended squatter and Blanham and all of them. Because all of these releases should be vetted by them before they go out. Every single one. In my day, a matter like this, we hadn't no civilian. The policemen, we had people like Ivla Whitaker, who was an excellent PR man. John Sayers, David Ramnarine, and all of those people. Excellent PR people. They knew what to say. There's no way those people would have put out the name of this person who is a witness in this matter, who is a material witness. Our car was hijacked. She's in a position to identify who the hijackers were. And the same hijackers are linked, are more likely linked to this murder, this drive-by shooting. And they put out the woman name there. They put out the woman name. It's hard to believe, but it is true. They put our name in a release. So therefore, the thief man them and the murderers and them are likely to know now who this body is. And oh God, this lady might be able to identify we might as well do so. Look, this thing is so upsetting when I read this thing. I was so upset when I read it. Mr. Conway, come in, man. Come in and let me hear your view. Come in.
Well, we know for sure, or we're trained that you need to protect your source. You need to protect your source. And there's it. The woman name, she address. They know the woman, then they know where she live in. And you mentioned releases used to come out from Planet Ivla, Whitaker, Ram Narayan, Sayers, and Patrick Mentor and them. You don't get them things though. And then I was saying that those releases got to be vetted, but Ramatar is a big thing there, and you want to put in what he feels like should go in there. He's not a police. He doesn't have police experience. Therefore, there's where the police, the high command of the police has got to take control. Hey, before you send out this thing, give me a draft. Let something come to me. Let me see. Let me approve before, especially in those. I mean, some little minor matters you wouldn't bother. But thing like a murder, which end up to be a double murder, and you put in the woman's name there. You put in her risk. You want her to become the next casualty. But something you can't blame Ramutar because he get experience. But the police, the extended squatter, and them, Blanham and them, they must vet those things before they go out. And I always saying that you have to protect your source. I remember once when I was at a meeting as a young officer and I reported something and I called the name, and Larry Lewis was the commissioner and he jumped on for me. Never disclose your source. Give me the information, but don't give me your source. No way, it mustn't happen. But there it is, big public. He got on social media the name of the woman and where she live in.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure they have their or address, but I know the name. I ain't gonna call the name because I get the release. The name is there. Or name is there. And we say this all the time because somehow the corporate communication unit, staffed by people who don't have policing experience, Mark Ramatar, I think you get Stan Govaya, and you got some police sergeant and them. They ain't got no policing experience. None. They might have done communication and all of that. But I did I had training in this regard at the FBI Academy with a man named Vance. And the same thing we were drilled into, that damn thing drilled into you, that you don't disclose your source to no one. None. You don't, and they're putting it out there in the public domain, the name of this woman, a material witness in this murder. A material witness in the murder. Her name is out there. And therefore, you're exposing her to danger. You're exposing her. And I say again, maybe all the blame is not with the corporate communication unit. You get a man sits there as the acting commissioner, a lying man. He can lie to say no money was lodged with Brutus case and no investigation was going on. I can lie to the public, so you can't expect anything credible from him. You get Blanham who's there. Blanham is supposed to be admitted to the bar. In other words, he's a liar, admitted to practice law in Guyana. Oh, Christ, man. Oh, Christ, you don't see that this thing at not, you can't be releasing the name of this woman. And if you don't have control over the release, you must demand control. You sit there as a crime chief, as an assistant commissioner, call the civilian Mark Ramatar and tell Mark Ramatar that nothing related to any crime should be released unless you clear it. Or in your absence, somebody who you designate to clear that release before it goes out there. Nothing should go out in relation to any serious crime without the crime chief vetting it. And let me say this, because when we did over some years ago the protocol relating to media releases and so on, we catered for that. We catered for that, who can make releases and how it should go out. Because prior to that, and this is an old time thing we had inherited, the commissioner, public relation officer, I think the traffic chief, the person in charge of crime, Those were the only persons who were allowed to make releases. And we said there is nonsense in this modern age. Commanders at the scene of the crime, the most senior person, and we revised the thing, but they're gone back. Gone back now. So Mark Ramadan, the corporate propaganda unit, can be making releases in relation to serious crime, murder, and give out the name of a material witness in the murder. When you even arrest, remember, no arrest has been made as yet, as far as we know. So the suspects are out there roaming, and you're releasing the name of the witness. So put 2 and 2 together. And some of you also notice that you put 2 and 2, you're going to get 22. That is what you're going to say. They put 2 and 2 together, they're going to get 4, they're going to get 22. That is what's going on. And let me say this, because I went on to tell you about this investigation too. And let me say this, right? And I made some note about it. They say they recover empty casings in the car, and they're going to carry it for ballistic examination. But it requires more than ballistic examination. It requires more than ballistic examination. Then they said the car lodged at the police station. This car should not be lodged at the police station. This car should be at the forensic laboratory, where the scientists, if they have them, can be no one who is highly trained in forensic science. They park she up at the training institution there, not engaged in the subject that she was qualified for. You need that car at the forensic laboratory, where the scientists will go through it with a fine-tooth comb for DNA evidence, for fiber, for prints, all of those things. Because if they said 4 persons who are in this car, they got to leave evidence in the car. And that maybe evidence is left in the car. Locard theory of transfer of materials will come into play. Locard theory, if you know it, you are going to read it, will come. They sit in the car, they will leave something there. They must have handled something, prints and so on. Even if they have on gloves, DNA evidence is likely to be there as well. So saying that you put the car at the police station shows how backward you people are. That is what it shows. This car, again, I say, should be at the lab, see lab for the lab, and the scientists should be going through it with a fine-teeth comb. With a fine-teeth comb to gather evidence to identify the perpetrators. And not only identify them, to be able to prosecute them successfully. That is what should happen. That is what. Scientific evidence. Because no doubt, if you do a proper investigation, you're going to get, you're going to hear about somebody see eyewitness. But they tell you in investigations, eyewitnesses can be very unreliable. Over time, they can lose their memory and they get subject to all sorts of bribery and corruption and all sorts of things. But when you get scientific evidence, that is what should seal a case of this nature. But no, you're looking for scientific, you said ballistic. Only ballistic evidence to tell you what? That it was a 9mm gun, and to see if the same gun was used in any other crime. That is what the ballistic evidence will tell you. What our DNA evidence? What our fingerprint? For those bullets to go into the magazine, they will have to be handled by hand. And I show nobody and putting on no gloves to handle them. Right? They go in the car. They come out the car. Evidence is there. And perhaps it is not too late for you to go and lock off that car and make sure that it is properly processed. Then 1 hour processing the table crime scene, people process the car in 1 hour. Impossible to do a proper examination of a car involved in a drive-by shooting like that in an hour or 2 hours and 3. Impossible. That car got to be, especially the in part of the car, you got to use vacuum and all this stuff to pull fibers and airs and all this everything. You got to dismantle the seat because something might have. Look, I am telling you all how to do your work because you don't know how to do your work. I'm just imparting some of the training that I have had with the FBI. The training that I have had in a matter like this, how you should pursue the investigation. Not so long ago, they display a fancy vehicle, call them the crime scene vehicle or something like that. Modern vehicle they display. Wonder what use that vehicle has been put to since it is there. I wonder what use. Because one would have thought that, again, with this vehicle, when the vehicle was found, you would have sought the process, at least preliminary process at the scene where it was found. And then you would have moved it to some location where you go through it with a fine-teeth comb. You go through it with a fine teeth comb. Let me bring Mr. Conway and then we're going to move on. CC, I'm sure you want to say something more on this matter.
Yeah, I'm always concerned, when there is a death of a person, especially dealing with homicide, suicide, accident, natural, or undetermined. And it's important that you do a meticulous and a proper investigation. Somebody has died. I know it's two. And I always got to keep referring to my training with the FBI. I did managing that investigation. I got a book that was about 900 and something pages. And I always remember on the inside of this book, this is what they drill into us. This is what the investigator, the facility drill into us. And I'm going to repeat that. I quoted before, but I'm going to repeat again. Here it says, no greater honor will be bestowed on an officer or a more profound duty imposed on him than when he's entrusted with the investigation of the death of a human being. Here it is. It is his duty to find the facts, regardless of color or creed, without prejudice, and let no power on earth deter him from presenting the facts to the court without regards to personality. You investigating the death of a human being, and more so is homicide. And here's it, they're masquerading. They're masquerading, and you win or you lose the case at the scene. And sometimes they're a secondary scene. At the scene, they must give up the scene toward you gotta lock off the scene for as far as practical as you want it, as long as you want it. I don't know no toasting or one other thing there. That you have to properly process it. While you mentioned about Lockhart theory, you didn't go into little details, baby. You left it for me, and let me tell you what Lockhart theory or exchange say. Perpetrator will take away traces of the victim and the scene. The victim will retain traces of the perpetrator and may leave traces of himself or herself on the perpetrator. The perpetrator will leave behind traces of himself or herself at the scene. So there's it. You found the car, and instead of taking proper control of it, doing a proper examination of the vehicle, you might find a short button, you might find hair, you might find fiber, a piece of tear up cloth, or some kind of thing. You might find fingerprints, you might find palm prints. Yeah, you might find a whole sort of thing. There is need for proper forensic investigation that you got to be done for. And let me give you a brief definition of forensic science. Is the application of scientific principles to criminal investigation. The application of scientific principles to criminal investigation. You get this Russian trained person, I think over 5 years she's spent in Russia. Forensic science come back and they'll actually as the most senior person responsible for training when she can get no background on training. There's where she should be with this forensic science and also ballistics too. I'm not hearing that they're finding anything in the scene and tracing it to somewhere else. I remember in Whitaker days, he used to call say and say, oh, put out this. They did some of the bullets that we found here match bullets that was fired at some other scene there. That the ballistics telling you a story. There are markings on the bullets. There are markings on the spent shells. And the police had a good database, ballistic database. I don't know if it's still in operation, but you don't hear for years now. We haven't heard that they find some spent shell or some bullet or something and link it to somebody or link it to a weapon. And that's frightening. So it's telling me that all the shooting is different type of weapons they're using, different type of weapons, and perhaps different people are operating. You win or lose a case by the way you manage that crime scene. And that crime scene is very, very important, and it's meticulous. As an investigator, you got to be meticulous. I can remember I had a good association with retired or the late Commissioner of Police, Henry Fraser. I used to reach him every Friday afternoon at the police officer's mess, and I used to pick his brains and things. And one thing he used to tell me, when young officer, you got to be meticulous. And he told me a story, He said when he was a detective sergeant at 51 police station, they got a report of pretty larceny, or let me put it another way, where somebody stole, going a man farm and stole his cassava, uprooted the cassava, left the roots there, and carried the cassava. He said he went to the scene, he had a Land Rover. He said, and when they saw several roots with a cassava, and he put them in the Land Rover and took them to Albion police station. He said the next day, he heard the person who stole the cassava. And he used to call me young. He said, young officer, I go and get a warrant. He said, when you're going to execute, when you're going to be allowed to search, you must get a search warrant. He said, I got one signed by the JP. And when I go in there, I see cassava. He said, I arrested him, carry him to the station there, and between me and him, we sit down there, and I start get cassava and roots. When the cassava start match the roots there. He said, the man said, yes, officer, you're a smart officer. It's me thief the cassava. He charged him, I think he's got 18 months jail. The thing is that you got to be meticulous, and we're giving away scenes too early. They must don't give back the car already too early. That you have to be meticulous. Sometimes it's time consuming, and you're investigating the death of somebody, the death of a human being, and that must be foremost in your mind. And then the physical evidence that you get there, that you obtain, the chain of custody, how you handle them, and then also the physical evidence we get there will need analysis. They got to need somebody to examine them properly and so forth. That is a whole lot of work you got to do. It's time consuming. But what they're doing, they're just giving away them scene. And all the hearing, drive-by shooting all about the place, drive-by shooting all about the place, and nothing is being done. No forensic, no ballistics. And no forensic, no ballistics. They're waiting for confession. People give a confession statement, and when they go in the court, they challenge it, and out goes the case, and out goes the confession, and out goes your case. So I'm saying, do proper forensic and do proper ballistic, particularly with those drive-by shooting, and we're getting plenty of them.
Yeah, and talking about getting plenty of them, let me remind them, because we have had in the past months several drive-by shooting resulting in deaths and other things. And the first question that I would want to ask, if I were in their position, whether there is a link between these shootings, whether there is a linkage. I recall some time ago, it was when, if you recall, in February of this year, the guy they called Dreddy was shot in North Rhineveld. He was at a wake, somebody called, he come out, somebody drive by, they shot Dreddy. Dreddy was killed. Shot and killed Dreddy. Then, if you remember, not so long ago, you had this big shooting out. We showed the video on this program where the man in the yellow raincoat, somewhere in Campbellville or somewhere there, roll up on a car and open up with what appears to be an AK-47 type submachine gun. Open up. Luckily, the occupant, I understand, was not killed. He received some injuries. He was not killed, the raincoat. Then we had, if you recall, 2 Guyanese killed in Suriname. 2 Guyanese killed in Suriname. We had the attempt of, that was month. I get the note, March this year too. Remember the attempt on Corlup, Grondell called Corlup, where the police, that man rolled up on him with AK-47 cut loose, and they recovered 27 shells, including 27 spent shells, including 10 7.62 by 39. For those of you who know about gun, we have a 7.62 by 39. We call it 7.6 to the shot. That is for the AK and similar type of weapon. And nothing you're hearing about these matters anymore. So any proper investigator will want to know if there's a link between these drive-by shootings. And that ought to be a part of the investigation. But I don't know whether they are going to do that. I get my own information. That's why I'm asking the question. Is there a link between these shootings and other incidents? Because people don't not roll up and shoot at people just like that. Who was the target of the drive-by shooting? Who was the target? And for what reason? For what reason? You got a lot of incompetent people. And once you get incompetent people in senior positions in the force, this is what's going to happen. Poor leadership from the top. Poor leadership. And I would, and again, misplaced loyalty. So therefore, not so long ago, they had a big organized cleanup campaign. Imagine the guy in the police force and the army cleaning up the streets, cleaning drain, cleaning shit from out of the drain and all of that. Cleanup campaign. And you get all of these incidents happening, drive-by shooting, people getting murdered, lawlessness on the road, people dying on the road, and all of that. And they're not organizing to deal with their core functions, but they're organizing to clean up shit at the seawall and all of those type of things. I gotta be frank. Hope I'm not offending anyone by being frank and being forthright in the way I present these things. Police and soldiers cleaning shit and cleaning up the place. That is what they're doing. They are coerced. Members of the force are coerced into doing that. They are forced to turn out. 5 o'clock Saturday morning, whether you're Adventist or not, you got to come out. And then they take down your name. Why do you think they're taking down your name? To know who the people who are not there, to victimize you. Right? To victimize you. So they come, you must come up for check off and all this type of thing. It's victimization. There's nothing voluntary about that. Because when a message is sent from the very top, say, all you must come. And then they have a fall in and check off. You know exactly what's happening there. The falling and check off is designed to ensure that they know who the people who are not there. And if you are not there, it's victimization. And again, I blame a lot of the police. Because in my day, that wouldn't happen. But we knew of the other ordinance. Bob Marley, you jam in. I want to jam in with you. You jam in, or you're gone in the wicket, you turn cricketer. You're gone in the wicket, or you're jamming. All this nonsense, as the man Nyland was said, nonsenseness are being allowed. And your core function, I could understand, because we did it in the past. We have mass patrols. You bring people out, your areas, you patrol. At least for that period of time and so on, people feel a little confident. People feel a little calm that enough police are around and so on. And you would analyze and you will see that there's an impact on traffic lawlessness and crimes during these periods of mass patrol and all of that type of thing. But no, that is not the focus. The focus is to go and clean up shit. And then what happened? But I'm sure by now, go and check those places that were clean. By now, gone again. And then talking about that, CC, the man there had sent out a thing last week. Said they must make cases. Police now got to make cases of people who litter in the place. And they must make daily return, weekly return, monthly return, charges, how many people charge, what they are charged for, and all that. Wonder is about a week now. So wonder how many charges have been made for litterbugs, as they call it. They were to have this name and shame thing. All that they put in police official communication, All of that they put in police official communication. So I wonder, after 1 week, after 1 day, because I said this thing should have been daily, these returns, as we call them, should have been daily. Wonder what has happened so far. Mr. Conway, sir, do you know if cases have been made? If so, how many?
I like you, Paul. I'm wondering, and I remember the memo clearly, where they say daily, weekly, monthly, and then they talk you blame and you shame people. They get what they call a so-called strategic plan that isn't smart, isn't specific, isn't measurable, isn't achievable, even realistic, even task-oriented. That is a confidential document that the commanders don't know about it, the deputy commanders don't know about it, the subunit officers don't know about it, the station sergeant don't know about it, the SOs don't know about it, even the public can know about it. And one of what they call the pillars of that strategic plan is partnership. So you want to build partnerships, and here you're shaming and blaming people. Instead of you build partnership, you shaming and blaming people. How do you want the people to support you? Eh? How do you expect people to support when you're shaming and blaming them? You want the people together. You want to do things together. Get them together to fight crime. Get them to fight crime, not get them to pick up garbage over the place. Don't make them garbage collectors. So I'm like you, Paul. I'm still wondering. I haven't heard anything in terms of the number of cases made, who they blame, or who they shame. I don't know what's going on, but I'll try to find out.
Yeah. The other Mauritian people, they must pass information to Slow and Conway, another what they call social media influencers. That's what they're saying. Well, let me move on. We talk about the crime. Accidents, we haven't addressed accidents in a while. You have a spate of fatal accidents. Spate of fatal accidents, and again, nothing. Nothing. Let me, for August month, so far, I did a little research. For August month, you had the 7th. Bus driver dies in Garden of Eden, three-way collision. Bus driver. You had on the 11th. Pedestrian dies in Linden, hit and run accident. The driver apprehended. That was on August 11th, that was reported. Then you have an electric scooter rider succumbed after West Coast Barbies accident. That was August the 13th. Then you have police continuing the search of driving Comarty hit and run accident, which left one woman dead. That is also on the 13th. Then on the 15th of August, woman killed in Strodeville accident. Then you had on the 17th, Strasbourg Cross claims the life of 20-year-old motorcyclist. That's Saturday, August the 17th. Then you have on the 18th, 21-year-old Mason died after hit by a car on his birthday. That occurred on Sunday the 18th at number 2 Village West Coast Borbies. Then you had on the same day, the 18th, 16-year-old motorcyclist died in a crash at Unverwalk, West Coast Borbies. Then we had on the 18th again, Kansas security guard dies after falling from motorcycle. Then more recently, a couple of days ago, a Brazilian died in North Pacaraimas after the ATV he was riding turned turtle. And then on the 23rd, a woman dies in an accident in number 43 Village. She drives her car into some bridge. So there's 11 I'm telling you about in August. And you hearing anything? Well, of course, they're going to tell you some of these are not accidents. They are incidents. They're making a distinction now between fatal accidents and fatal incidents, even though all of them occur on the road. And I will ask them to look at the Roads Act or to see, or the Motor Vehicle Road Traffic Act, what is the definition for road? People are dying on the road and they're saying incident. You know what they have said? They have said that unless there is an accident between two motor vehicles or a motor vehicle running to someone, right? Or a bicycle or a cyclist, right? That is not fatal accident. That's an incident. So if a person is driving, as frequently occurs, and drives into a lamppost, speeding, lose control, driving to a lamppost, driving to some sand, lose control, the vehicle turns turtle, the person dies. This woman driving to some bridge, they say, no, that's not a fatal accident, that's a fatal incident. But at the end of the day, people are dying on the road. People are dying on the road, and they're not doing anything. Well, I shouldn't say that, because what happens is that they extend this quarter. They have this campaign, they scream, respect the road. And they spend perhaps millions of dollars to make big billboards with the man picture and put it up there. That is how they are going to deal with accidents. Sometime last year, calling all the heads of the traffic departments, rotate all of them, transfer all of them. Tell them in order to prevent speeding, they must line the roads. Policemen must line the roads. That's the type of nonsense you have. And they're still in these positions. And the authorities that be cannot see that these people are clueless, including Robeson Ben, the Minister of Home Affairs. Rip Van Winkle, he woke up the other day to tell you about corruption in the ministry and corruption in the police force. He's been asleep. He woke up after a prolonged sleep to say that. Nothing, they're not doing anything about these accidents. And we said before, all of these measures, these knee-jerk measures, they tell you the other day 60 cases made, 200 and something cases made. Those things are not going to have any significant impact. I've said, and I'll tell you out from my background, where I was the traffic chief on 2 occasions in Guyana. 2 occasions I was the traffic chief. And I made a lot of innovations and so on. Some of them stand up to today. So for those people who want to come and try to berate, and they're standing up to today. And the fact they're standing up to today means that they get some utility, right? So we got to understand that. But I continue to say that there have to be a comprehensive overhaul of the entire system. Not go there locking up driver for speeding, locking up man for driving under the influence of alcohol and so on. One of the things you got to do is to make sure, and again, let me see if I can show this thing, is to make sure that you have a comprehensive review of what is going on, starting from driver's license and all of these things. You have to have that. You have to have a comprehensive review. Look at this here. Look. That was an accident some time ago. I think somebody died in that accident. If you look, I've been looking at social media recently. It seems to be the place at UG there now. So many accidents we have seen at UG there where people turn in. Something is wrong. You need to go down on the ground, examine the territory and see what is causing these things. Maybe it's something to do with engineering. Well, look, all they're looking for is law enforcement. Tell the police, lock up people. That alone will not work. This thing has gone so bad. It's not going to work. Let me understand this. I'm no sociologist, but I did sociology at university. And the sociologists will tell you whether it's any one of those sociologists, Durkheim, whether it's Karl Marx, they will tell you that what we have now is you're trying to change a culture of lawlessness on the road. That is what you have, a culture of lawlessness on the road. And therefore, if you have a culture of lawlessness in the road, you have to try to change a culture. And you can't change a culture by these piecemeal interjections. Culture is not difficult, not easy to change. To change a culture of lawlessness on the roads in Guyana requires a lot of thinking, requires the same get-together that the president talked about some time ago, where on his New Year's message, he said that you're going to get together and very soon you have a discussion with people, and after this discussion, we're going to take, up to now, this is August month, I am not aware that they had any such discussion. But if you're trying to change a culture, you got to understand it's a difficult task. And what we have in Guyana is not just an aberration. What you have, it's a culture of lawlessness, not only on the roads, in every aspect of life, but on the roads, because that results in deaths of people, right? Perhaps it is more obvious. You're trying to change a culture. And I say this to Ben, I say this to the president, I say this to all of them, including the extended squatter. Changing the culture is not easy. And by going and locking up a couple of people for speeding and locking up people for driving under the influence, and they tell you about vehicle causing obstruction and all, like clamping vehicle, that cannot change a culture. To change a culture, you got to start from the beginning. When you get these accidents, perhaps you would want to see how those persons acquire their license. And that might tell a story. You might see a pattern developing where people driving, they pay money to get their license, and therefore they don't really know how to drive. Driving is not just sitting behind a steering wheel, mashing the accelerator and steering. Driving involves more than that. That might be the problem. So I'm saying, and every day on the thing, and they don't give you the figures any longer. When I was a traffic chief, almost every week used to get an update, so many accidents, so many deaths, so many injuries, so many fatal accidents, so many serious accidents, so many minor. Used to keep people updated. They don't do that. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to talk about this accident, and then we're going to move on to Mr. Brutus. CC.
Yeah, Paul. This thing about accident, we've been preaching it all and all over again, that it needs an holistic approach. If you do piecemeal approach, you get piecemeal results. A all has got to be involved. And coming back to the accidents, Paul, the cocking the figures, the ghosting, the saying is not fatal accident, fatal incident. Understand the last one in Borbis where the woman run into a bridge. And the Borbis administration say it is an incident. It is not an accident. And you ask about the road. And here is what the 5102 talks about the road. It's a road means any highway or any other road to which the public has access and includes bridges, what a woman run into, over which a road passes, and any wharf, stelling, or part of the foreshore to which the public has access. I'd like to repeat for emphasis. Road means any highway or any other road to which the public has access and includes bridges over which the road passes and any wharf, stelling, or part of the foreshore to which the public has access. So they get their own definitions about road. Man driving a motorcycle and he fall off and die, it is an incident, it is not a thing. So they cocking the figures, they ghosting, and they saying, hey, don't put on this one MI, this one gonna make me look bad. And they're not addressing the real Jaguar in the room. And that is driver's license. The theory, the faith, the cops in faith used to mark the papers, they take it away from them holy men there. And they give Zara. But because Zara built some computer centers about the place in 3 counties. So Zara doing the theoretical part of the examination. And there are no checks on balances on Zara. They believe that there's anything called computer fraud. They believe Zara, they are paragon of virtues, that they allow Zara for their own thing. And what's Zara tell them? That is gospel. No checks and balances for the theory. And the practical worse yet. Because remember, Paul, you had put system in place that every week a list of persons who are registered to do the practical examination, the list must go to the commander. And the commander will select apart from the certifying officer who must be present there. And at the end of the session, a return got to go to the commander so he's look at and examine the list. Always remember when I was in Borbis, I sent for the list and I discovered that Springlands had the best driver in this country. If 10 registered to do the practical exam, all 10 is passed. So I called this certified officer, say, hey, and this way commanders got to get involved. I say, hey, I ain't want no 100% pass. Me can't wait too, but I don't want no 100% pass. And he go outside and talk that he's a certifying officer, only he could give people driver license. The commander can't give people driver license. And he sent back to other returns with 100% pass. So I sent for him and I transfer him. I sent him to Oriel, I think it's about 60 miles up the quarantine. I said, go and certify boats in the quarantine over there. I think he's spent about 4 months in the work and then he left. So we're saying that the practical test is important and they're doing night driving. Watch a big trucks, how you get a license for a lorry. You go to Canto and you go between 4 sticks and then so the final say you okay there and he give you competence, you go to GRA and you get a license. Them big trucks don't, I never see a big truck between 4 sticks. And that's the whole story. You go with a Canto, you get your competence, and they give you competence to drive 18-wheelers and 20-wheelers and all them big truck. So they need to, among other things, address the elephant, the jaguar in the room. And apart from that, all got to be involved. General duties got to be involved. You stop at general duty rank and ask you, by when last you make a traffic case? And the answer going to be, so I can remember or I make none. That all, don't leave it on the traffic people alone. And we're talking about how much thousands of tickets you issue. How many persons pay those tickets? How many matters are before the court? How many persons get convicted? How many ex-parte trial magistrate do? I did my own research and I can't recall when last I hear a magistrate do an ex-parte trial for a person who get a ticket. So all the tickets banking up there. And us is a holistic approach towards it. So instead of they again and charge people for littering, get a national effort to deal with the lawlessness on our roads. Deal with it holistically. But no, they don't think all the change in traffic chief, like the one was up on leave or something, and then I see the acting traffic chief been somewhere up on the East Coast and they make about 27 cases and there's been thing. And watch where again on the embankment. You don't get in accidents on the embankment. And you gotta do it, gotta be data driven. You gotta check the analysis, you gotta analyze the stats, and you can see which category of road users committing the most offense. You got to check and see, hey, West Demerara last year was the deadliest road in this country. They had more fatal accident than any other part in the country. And you know what happened? The officer in charge of traffic in West Demerara, the deadliest roads in the country, the deadliest division, and the officer in charge of West Demerara, they can't contradict me. They award him. He was a runner-up best cop. So they're promoting incompetence. So I'm saying they need to seriously have a proper thing. And I'm saying the driver's license thing. Look and see how much people doing the practical exam. And go to GRA. And then you can see the large amount of people going there with confidence and with the competence and getting the driver's license. A complete overhaul of the driver's license system should be done.
I agree with you. A complete overhaul needs to be done. Again, we say we try to change the culture. Normally we don't react to certain students. But let me put up the comment by this one for all to see. This is a Joseph Winslow. The name seems familiar because I think he's on other programs and always spewing a lot of crap. Hear what he says here. This is in response to the police cleaning up the street, police and soldiers. He says, in countries throughout the world, prisoners are put to work cleaning up environments, cutting grass, and other things. So he is equating prisoners with policemen and women. That is what this force is doing. He's not a regular student. So let me tell you this. On this program, we don't tolerate foolishness. These teachers that you have here don't tolerate stupidness. And it's a one strike. So once you come back here with nonsense, we can tell you leave the class. Imagine we talking about policemen being forced to go and clean shit on the road, and you come for telling me about all over the world prisoners. So you're saying policemen are prisoners? That is what you're saying? You are creating policemen and women who have to leave their homes 5 o'clock in the morning for clean up shit and all sort of thing around the place. You're calling them prisoners? As I said, this is a one strike. You come back here with any stupidness and you have to leave the class. We can expel you. We can ask the principal to expel you from the class. And here, this is not, you're not going to DRS for the cricketers, you know what I'm talking about, a decision review system. We will just expel you, right? You say, well, we are Guyanese. We are not easy. Well, we are not easy people. Let me put up this next comment here. He said, we are Guyanese, we are not easy people. We behave like we're invincible. Driving slowly is not in the Guyanese vocabulary, unless we are driving fast and reckless. And this is such a foolish comment to be making that we are Guyanese, right? And then here he says here, He ain't sent him a policeman. But we are talking about policemen, fool. We are in this program, we're talking about policemen being made to clean up. And then you talk about prisoners. So what you got to understand? What you're understanding. As I said, one strike. And you had the strike already. Come again and they're going to ask a teacher to expel you. Oh, let me move on to say, well, he said, somebody saying that, what? You think he's saying that? That is not what he said. That is not what he said. That is not what he said. So Mark don't try to represent he. He ain't said so. He said prisoners. Yeah, prisoners. But we are talking about policemen. So you're trying to equate policemen with prisoners? That is what you're doing? Well, let me move on, CC. This thing about Brutus. 47 days now since they say Brutus was asked to go on leave to facilitate this investigation into money laundering and financial impropriety. 47 days now. And there's no release. I have not seen any release to say what has happened to this investigation. I don't know. We don't know if up to now, Brutus, the allegation of money laundering and financial impropriety was put to Assistant Commissioner, and he's a liar. Brutus, we haven't heard anything further, and therefore we got to continue to ask. But I hear, CC, I know you just hear a lot of the things that I hear. He was to resume last week, Wednesday. That is my information. He was to resume. He has not resumed because we understand that he told him to stay and leave. And we asked the question, how many days leave this man on? How many days leave this man on? And up to now, they can't say how many leave this man is on. And we have said here clearly that what should happen is that this is where the Police Service Commission to get involved. The Police Service Commission should use the powers that they have and send Assistant Commissioner Brutus on administrative leave. Administrative leave. And we tell them in case they want the authority to do so, look into the case Mosi Doki versus the Attorney General and David Ramnarine, who was carrying out the functions of the Commissioner of Police. Look at that case and you get your authority there. The Secretary, Jai Gobind Jai Singh, should be able to look. I mean, he ain't too bright, and he tells a lot of lies, but he can use that to guide the commission. And the commission ain't got to wait on the police command to send and tell them. This thing is in the public domain. So one would expect that if nothing has been sent to the Police Service Commission, the Police Service Commission should write to the administration of the force and say, look, we saw this thing in the media where Brutus is alleged to have laundered money, and it is said that he has proceeded on leave. We need a short report to confirm whether this is whether or not this is so. And once you get that, you got to be proactive. You can't sit back there and wait for the extended quarter, because he too is implicated in this thing. He go on the place and he tell lie. He go and he tell lie. He say no money was lodged, so you can't expect him to do what is supposed to be done. But Brutus should be sent on administrative leave. You can't have an assistant commissioner say that he take leave. How many days leave he took? So the leave ain't done? How many days leave did he take? If the leave has not expired, when will the leave expire? The public needs to know. This is a public officer, senior public officer, and the public needs to know these things. How many days leave? But let me tell you this. CC was here, that one is here. I understand that Brutus tell them plainly, he ain't going down alone. I understand that Brutus told them, that is why up to now, they can't put no allegation to you. Up to now, they can't caution you for conduct no proper investigation, because I understand he tell them plain that if I going down, all y'all going down with me, including government ministers and government officials. Because as we have been saying, there is no way that Brutus could have been involved in this elaborate scheme, corruption scheme, without the involvement of others. People like the police finance officer, I think he's Superintendent Prasad. People like his driver, right? People like his secretary. All of them are involved. The commissioner acting, extended squatter, who went public and said, oh, no investigation is taking place. No money was lodged. So I told you, all of them And Brutus has shown down the gauntlet. Brutus said, if I going down, all y'all going down with me. So perhaps that is why they're treading very carefully on this matter. CC, let me bring you in for your closing remarks. And then the time are almost up already, but the time does run when you enjoy yourself.
All right. The Brutus matter, is a multiplicity of financial irregularities and other issues which are criminal. And I can remember, in my days as a constable, same Bible Smith 7464, I think he retired as superintendent. And when he used to do investigation for multiple offenses, he used to say, hey, catch him on and give a hold in charge whilst he investigate the others. He used to catch them and give them a hold in charge whilst he investigate the bigger and more complex issues. So I'm saying there are so many offenses alleged Brutus committee, that they could catch you and give a hold in charge whilst they do the other thing meticulously. So, and for me, Brutus should be arrested, told of the offense, and cautioned. Time for masquerading about the place is all gone. So I'm saying perhaps do a Smithy a hold in charge whilst to deal with the others which will eventually come. And I forget the last session we forget to congratulate those students who did well at the CXC. Students get 20-something subjects and all kind of thing. But there need to be some kind of disaggregation. Let us know, hey, we know that they did badly in mathematics. I think they had a fail of 69%, plus less than 50% in English. And they need to find out, hey, how many students pass 5 subjects with English and maths. And also, as I did last year, check and see whether or not any student from the interior got an A in any one of the subjects. So let us do a disaggregation for the benefit of the nation so that they're able to correct the situations.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, we did, it was remiss of us not to congratulate those hardworking students for their achievement at the examination. And we do so belatedly with apologies. And, in closing, let me remind my squad mate, Coach 74, 31st. This is Saturday coming. We can meet in Brooklyn and we can reminisce and we can enjoy ourselves. Let me also remind you that the offer is still there for those of you who want to benefit from the financial education that I received in Las Vegas sometime. Contact me. Many students have done so already, and I hope that they are benefiting from the information that was provided. And the same offer is there for other students who are in the U.S. Those who of you who are in the U.S., contact me, and I will give you the information. Contact me. And I want to say to all of us that be safe. Be safe. Is danger, is accident on the road, is so many other things. And we have so many other things that we wanted to talk about this morning, but time has caught up with us. And therefore, on Wednesday, God's willing, on Wednesday, God's spare life, we're going to come again to bring you information on the program. We have so much left back from today, but I can guarantee you that between now and Wednesday, a lot of things will come up that we will need to bring to your attention as well. So again, make contact, and I'm going to arrange for you to benefit from the little knowledge that I acquired in financial literacy. Knowledge is something I love to share, as you have come to understand. I share freely. There's nothing attached. And I also want to thank the few students who have reached out to me and offered donations to keep this program. We don't come and we don't ask, but I've said to you that if offers are made, we are going to accept the offer because it costs us the platform, the stationery. It costs us. It costs us. As you see, we get lights and all these things. We gotta buy dashboard camera. We spend the money and we buy things. We don't ask, but we were not gonna refuse any contribution to the program. So contact me if you want to make a contribution, and I will tell you how to do so. People have contacted me and they have made contributions. So folks, until Wednesday Gospel Life, we're going to meet again for another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption, Incompetence. Until then, stay well. Bye.